Hello, good morning. Uh, Today, as I told you, that we'll be starting with uh, supply analysis. 1 minute. So in the so far we saw uh, 4 chapters in economics, and that is micro analysis, MICRO, MACRO, its features, etc. Then we saw utility analysis. There we saw law of utility, assumption, exception, etc. Then next chapter we saw demand, law of demand, laws, assumptions of law of demand, exceptions to law of demand, increase, decrease, or extension or contraction, etc. Now, today we are starting with analysis of supply. In case of analysis of demand, we said that it is consumer's behavior. Consumer's behavior means how consumer will behave at different times and at different prices quoted in the market. Now, today we will study analysis of supply. It means it is producer's behavior. Producer's behavior means how seller will act, how he will behave. So first of all, we are consumers. We always think from the point of view of consumers in relation to demand and price. But here, first of all, you should make your mind that you are seller. So if you are seller, if you are producing the goods and selling in the market, how you should behave or how seller will behave in the market. So this is called producer's behavior. Now, as you know, producers or sellers are supplying the goods or sells the goods at various prices prevailing in the market. Suppliers are available at different places. Suppliers are selling goods to various consumers. So supply is goods offered for sale at a given time. So this time may be a day, a week, or a month. For example, Mr. X says that I sold 5 dozens of mango. So here only quantity is reflected in his statement, but he has not said at what price and whether he has sold mangoes in a day or in an hour or in a week or so on. So when we talk about supply, it is to be expressed in relation to price and time. At the same time, supply differs from place to place. So, when goods are available in abundance, then the place of supply will be continuous. Similarly, supply differs from person to person. So, supply is relative term. It is always expressed in relation to price, time and quantity. It implies various quantities of goods offered for sale at various alternative prices at a point of time or during a period of time. So here price is important for explanation of supply, time is important, and of course quantity offered for sale. Now, according to Paul Samuelson, he defines supply as supply refers to the relation between market prices and the quantity of goods that producers are willing to supply or willing to sell. So now this is a sort of definition and explanation of what is supply. Now, in relation to supply of goods which is offered for sale, you must try to understand what is total production, what is total output, and what is stock. So the total output can be viewed, can be understood from two angles. One angle is that total output by one producer. TV manufacturers say that I have produced 1000 quantity of TVs of different qualities and sizes. So it is total output during a period of time, say 1 month, 1 year or so on. But total output from economic point of view also is that total production made by various producers in a country during particular period of time. It is called total output. Now, how production is done? Production is done or goods are produced with the help of factors of production. Factors of production are land, labor, capital and organization. So when all these factors are brought together, then with the help of this, output or production can be done. So out of this total output, supply is made. But in between output and supply, there is one more term which you should understand, and that is stock. The term stock refers to the total quantity of goods or commodities which is available with the seller or producer or trader for sale. It refers to the total quantity which is available with a trader for sale at a particular period of time. So there is difference between stock and supply. What is the difference? Stock is the source of supply. Suppose a trader has 100 quantities, kilos, kgs of rice. This will be called as stock. Output can be 1000 or tons or whatever may be the case. But stock available with him is 1000 kgs. But out of this, his offering for sale is only 100 kg. So, stock is the source of supply. So, stock is 1000 kg, supply is 100 because he is offering only 100 kgs out of 1000. So, but in the case of stock, so when stock is made available, entire stock is available, then stock and supply is same. In other words, without stock, there cannot be supply. It can be called as potential supply. So, by increasing production, seller will increase his stock and thereby he will increase or decrease his supply depending upon the market situation or prices prevailing in the market. So, other way of defining stock is, so stock includes total quantity produced during the year plus the balance remaining unsold in the previous year is called stock. So, stock is also defined. So stock is equal to total current production during particular period of time and balance unsold in the previous year or last year. So I have defined what is stock. So there is difference, there will be difference or there can be difference. I am using the word can. I will give you the example. So before I go ahead, let me tell you, stock is always more than supply, or stock can be equal to supply, but supply cannot be more than stock. Again I will repeat, stock is always more than supply. Stock can be equal to supply, but supply cannot be more than stock. 100 or 1000 kg of stock, supply can be 500. 1000 kg of stock, supply is 1000 kg. So stock is equal to supply. When it is a 500, supply is less than stock. Now, uh, in case of certain goods, stock is almost equal to supply. Now, in which case it happens? In case of perishable goods like milk, vegetables, fruits, eggs, supplier, seller has to keep entire stock for sale. Stock will be always almost equal to supply. Supply will be always equal to stock, because perishable goods cannot be withheld, cannot be kept for longer time, longer period. But in case of durable goods like TV, fan, washing machine, etc., furniture, entire stock may not be equal to supply, because producer or trader or manufacturer will release this stock as and when price rises. He will hold the stock and wait and find out, and he will wait till the price goes up. So, in case of durable goods, supply will be less than stock. It will not be equal to stock. Now, this is what is the various definitions and meaning of what we learn is what is supply. The topic is related to the behavior of producers or sellers. Then we saw what is total output, and then we saw what is stock, how stock and supply is related to each other. Next point is analysis of supply, like demand, analysis of demand. Supply is analyzed or divided into two sections: individual supply schedule and market or total supply schedule. So, what is individual supply schedule? So, this schedule shows how much quantity of goods will be supplied by one seller at different prices at a point of time or during period of time. So, in individual supply schedule, it shows price on one side and quantity offered for sale on the other side. So, I will show you supply schedule from the textbook, but let me go ahead because I will be showing both individual supply schedule and market or total supply schedule from the textbook at one time. So, market or total supply schedule refers to the total goods made available by various sellers. So in a market, each seller producing similar goods, they will bring their supply out of the stock and will try to sell the goods at prevailing market. The prevailing market prices they will see, and accordingly goods will be offered for sale by them. So market schedule or total supply schedule in a market refers to total goods made available by various sellers together at a market price is called total supply schedule or market supply schedule. So total goods offered for sale by all the sellers at a given price or prices at a particular period of time, it is called market supply or total supply. Now from the textbook I will show you individual supply and market supply and what is the relationship between the two, how seller will behave at different prices. Let me explain. Now, as I told you, the definition given here in the textbook, individual supply schedule. Individual supply schedule refers to a table which shows single seller for sale at different prices during a given period of time. For example, individual supply schedule, price per unit, quantity of X supplied by seller on the right hand side. So at price 1, quantity offered is 10. If price rises to 2, quantity offered is 20. When price rises to 3, quantity offered is 30, and so on. So as the price rises from 1 to 2 or from 2 to 3, supply is rising. So this is the behavior of the consumer. He will try to sell more if prices go up. So this is so seller is willing to sell 10 units of X quantity at price 1. When the price rises to 5, supply increases to 50. So these are the prices prevailing in the market, goods offered for sale. So what the relation says, as the price rises, supply goes up. So it is, in order to make more profit, in order to sell more quantity, supply will rise when price rises. There is direct relationship between price and quantity offered for sale. The relationship is direct. It is going in the same direction, which is not happening in the case of demand. In the case of demand, the relationship between price and quantity offered or quantity demanded is opposite. They are inversely related. Here, the relationship between price and quantity is positive. They are going in the same direction. Rise in price, rise in supply. So these are the points which are to be written while explaining the individual demand schedule. Now coming to market demand schedule. Now market demand schedule refers to a table which shows, this is already explained by me, which shows various quantities of commodities offered for sale by seller during a given period of time. It is obtained by horizontal summation, that is total supply of all the individuals at various prices. Now I will show you the table. Now your table is market supply schedule, price 1, 2, 3. Depending upon the stock available, production available, A is offering 10 quantity, B is big producer, he is offering 20, he has more stock, C is offering 30 for sale, he has more, he is having more stock with him, now he is ready to offer at this price 30. So total market supply is 60. As the price rises to 2, A is offering 20, B 30, C 40, total supply is 90. And so on. For third, at price 3, at 4, 5, at price 5, supply made available is 50, going from 10 to 50, because he will try to make more profit and he will try more stock as the price rises. So say B is offering 60, C is offering 70. So total supply or market supply is 180. So market supply will be always more than individual supply, because there are many sellers who are trying to sell their goods. So market supply is always more than individual supply. But the principle is same. As the price rises, supply will rise. More quantity will be offered for sale. So there is direct relationship between price and quantity offered for sale. They are going in the same direction. There is positive relationship between price and quantity offered for sale. So these are the points which you have to explain while writing on individual supply and market supply. Now coming to next point, and that is what are the determinants of market supply? What are the determinants of supply? You can say the market supply or individual supply. See, in other words, what are the determinants of supply? Like determinants of demand, here there are determinants of supply. Means on what factors or which are the factors which determines rise or fall. Now here you have to use the word increase or decrease. Now when supply of goods available in the market will increase or decrease. Rise and fall words and increase and decrease words, it has same meaning. But in economics, the words rise or fall are used when you talk about price. So first factor, which is very important factor which influences supply, is price. More is supplied at a higher price and less at a lower price. That already we saw while learning individual supply and market supply. Now, second determinants or second factor which affects supply is cost of production. If the cost of production increases due to increase in the prices of factors of production, the supply will be less or it will decrease. Now what is this? Now every producer has to pay prices or price for factors of production which he is collecting from various sources. Now for his land he has to pay rent. For labor or workers or staff he has to pay wages or salaries. For loan or capital taken by him from the market, he has to pay interest. So for finance he has to pay interest. And for organization, the owner, he has to earn some profit. So these are the factors with the help of which there is production, and for this production of goods and services he has to pay price. So if the price or if the wages go up, if interest rate goes up, if rent, landowner increases his rent, then the cost of production will also go up. So in that case, similarly, if the cost of raw material goes up, that is also one of the important factors which affect the cost of production. So all these factors will affect the production and it will affect ultimately supply of goods. Higher the cost of production, lower will be the supply. And if there is any reduction in prices of factors of production, then supply will go up. Next point is state of technology. Improvement in the technology will reduce the cost of production. If a producer is using labor intensive techniques for production, then the cost will be always more. Now what is labor intensive technique? Labor intensive technique means goods are produced with the help of workers. More workers are used than machines. So there will be less production because time will be more required for producing by hands. So in case of labor intensive, when proportion of workers are more than machines, it is called labor intensive factory or organization. So if the proportion of workers are more than machines, then production will be less. So then supply will be less because stock will be less. On the other hand, if a producer is using capital intensive technique, if proportion of machines are more, then machines will produce more goods than labor. So in this case, production will be more, supply will be more. Next point, and that is government policy. Supply also depends upon the changes in the government policies as regards direct and indirect taxes or subsidies, help given by the government, industrial policies formulated by government at different times. Depending upon the type of production, supply will increase if the government policy is favorable to the producer, and accordingly, if it is favorable, then producer will try to increase the production. If government imposes higher GST on the goods which are produced by producer, in that case cost will rise and thereby he will have to reduce the production, because if he produces more, in spite of that he may not be able to sell the goods, so he will reduce his production. In case of those goods, if the taxes are reduced, thereby the price falls. So naturally producer will try to reduce the price and he will produce more, and then he will sell more at a higher price because his cost will reduce. If the GST is reduced, his cost will reduce, and thereby he can produce more and sell more goods by increasing the price. Now, nature of market. Next point. In the case of competitive market, the supply will be more because there are many sellers available in the market, and accordingly he will try to sell more. In case of monopoly market, he will supply less, and as and when the price rises, because he is the monopolist, he can increase, decrease supply according to his production. See, he can restrict the supply, increase the price and supply more, or he can increase the price, increase the supply. Both is possible for the monopolist. Next point, that is infrastructure available with the seller or within the country. If transport facility is good, there is no intermission or disruption in power, if continuous supply of power is available, communication facilities are available, banking facilities are available, then the supply and production will be more. So it depends upon in the remote areas the supply is less because these infrastructures are not available to the producer or seller. Next point is export and import. In the case of import, if export will reduce the supply within the country because producer is selling the goods out to the outside world. But in case of import, the supply will increase because goods are coming in the country from the outside world. Now, next point is natural calamities. The supply of goods of agriculture commodities depends upon the nature, natural conditions. In case of droughts, flood, earthquake, supply will reduce. But in good monsoon and favorable conditions, supply will increase because production will be more. Now, at present situation, whether it is natural calamity or man-made, you don't know. During corona conditions, presently we are facing it. The supply is less because producers are not able to deliver the goods. And another thing, consumers are also restricted to move. That is why at present situation which we are facing, supply is affected. Supply is affecting because of this unforeseen, unpredictable situation which we have never faced. Now there are other factors which are man-made factors. So whether coronavirus is man-made factor or natural, we don't know. It is still to be found out. But there are man-made factors which also affect supply, and those are political disturbance created by various political parties, Bharat Bandh, riots. This also affects supply. War between the two countries, emergencies created, which also affect the supply, which will reduce the supply in a market. Now, there are other factors also which affect the supply from the individual point of view. If seller or trader is in need of money, if he wants cash, then he will supply goods whatever price may be there available in the market. So these are the various factors which determine the supply of goods. So today we will stop. In next lecture I will be discussing, telling you about law of supply, assumptions of law of supply and exception to law of supply.